All right, hey y'all, what's up? My name is Cody. I have been away from this channel for quite a while. I'm excited to get back and talk about all the things that are going on in the ethosphere of being a remote worker, the intelligence boom, and all of the above. So let's get into just some casual conversation about what I've been up to. I got let go from Prudential as a customer support rep in the life insurance space in September, the end of September. And now I am heads down on a project that I'm calling Coda CLI. And I started with a web application, and my primary goal when starting to create this app was to reinvent my notes application that I use on my iPhone every day. Some of the problems I was having when I was using my notes application on my iPhone is that when I search at the top, there's cloud storage, local storage, and I guess like a couple other like folders that were kind of at the top level. And there's a search bar at the very top level. So I'm thinking, okay, if I search here at the top level, it'll search through all of these different places and then provide to me the files that I'm looking for. Well, it just wouldn't. I know I would write a song about, pickles and eating them on a farm or whatever, and I would search farm or pickles and nothing would show up. And it was just so confusing to me. But then if I go into a particular folder where the file exists and then I search there, then it would show up. So I was just getting very annoyed. So ultimately, I wanted to create a notes application that I could put thoughts, writings, I songwrite, chords, or project ideas, which I have a bunch of them over the years that I've been alive, and I have just been stacking them up, and they've been going nowhere, really. And been in this like hamster wheel of like, oh, I need to look outside of myself for employment, value, validation, like whatever it might be. I've been caught in this loop, and I know a lot of people might find themselves in this loop. If you do, then hey, you're in the right place, because we are dealing with just that. I am doing my best to break free out of these loops, these money loops that we're in, I like to call them, all the subscriptions that we pay for. Like, why am I paying $15 a month for Netflix when there are thousands of DVDs out there that I can get for, pennies on the dollar, and I could download them onto my home device, and then I can just spin up a Plex server and send that media to any other device in my household over Wi-Fi, or to my particular device that I want to listen to or watch when I'm out and about. The interesting thing here is that this is not enforced for a personal consumption level. So if you want to download a movie on your hard drive, you might see those big like, oh, copyright, you're gonna $100,000 like per minute you watch, you're gonna be bankrupt by tomorrow, classic scare tactic that they do with those splash screens when you're watching the movie, or when you're about to watch it, or at the end of the movie, those big warning like FBI stickers, and you're like, oh, I'll never do that, right? Like, well, lo and behold, they don't actually enforce it, and it isn't really enforceable because it's consumption use for your personal device. Now, if you get into torrent territory and you start seeding your download for other people to seed and download faster, upload, yada yada, that is going to be in the realm of legal discrepancy, if you will. So make sure to cross your T's and dot your I's on that one. So what I'm doing here, what I'm trying to figure out is, how can I start stopping the blood flow outside of my body, right? I feel like I'm dying from 1,000 paper cuts. These subscriptions are just annihilating me. So I am doing my best to slowly program them, or quick as possible, program them away. I need a video conference application. Great. I'll program it. I'll make it myself. I need an email inbox. New user experience, because I have 100,000 unopened emails and half of them are spam, but I'd be none the wiser. I don't really know. It's hard to sift through them. Great. I'll develop my own UX for my email address. These are things that we can do today with limited knowledge about actual tech that goes into creating them. As long as you know what you want. It's important to understand what we want, what we need. And we get into this space of to figure out even what we want to do. I mean, I was on LinkedIn posting on someone's post regarding going to law school, right? And how a lot of people have told him you should not go to law school, or when you're in law school, like, why are you doing that, you know? And a lot of those comments that people make are actually quite valid. The problem is that they don't follow up with more detail. They just say, yeah, you should drop out of school, dude. Like, you know, YOLO, you know, school sucks. You know what I mean? Like, sure, it does in some ways, if you're not at the right school or if you're not studying under the right professor. I mean, at the end of the day, my kind of a summarization of what I mentioned in this comment on this post regarding going to school in general or going to law school, it was around the idea of, if you are defining your particular goal, defining your dream life, right? I want to go to law school because I want to help somebody stick up for themselves, to make sure that insurance companies are not bullying people that deserve payouts, right? All of these little nitty gritty things, our internal moral compass. We're like lawyers on our, you know, own personal level on a day-to-day basis, right? But like, how do you really want to practice your law? What law do you want to have an effect on or impact on? What communities do you want to have an impact on? What, you know, pollution is it? Is it immigration? Is it, you know, what is it, right? And you're telling me the best thing for you to do is to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, you know, X amount of money per year to what? Have casual conversation, get told what to do, and pay them to tell you what to do and what to think, or, you know, give you, or even if they're not even telling you what to do and you're just going in there having casual conversation, you're going through the motions, and then, oh, you have an idea generated, right? Oh, I want to do this. And then while you're in school, you're like, oh shit, like I really want to do this. But I'm doing all these other things that have nothing to do with what I'm figuring out that I really do want to do. So you're telling me you're going to spend $100K or maybe $10K or whatever the amount is on an opportunity to just figure it out what I want to do. And then when I figure out what I want to do, you're saying that I have to finish out the degree to actually get any sort of community, you know, recognized certification that would then place me in a position higher than I am now. It's just such a backwards ass way of thinking, and I'm fucking done with it, dude, honestly. So if we want to do something, it's just like, well, we define it, right? Like, oh, I really want to build a boat. So what? You're going to spend money on school for 4 years to figure out how to build a boat, and then you're going to build a boat? Like, that just is, you're right? Like, if you want to build a boat, you start figuring out what kind of materials you want to use, what kind of templated blueprint design do you want to use, right? And then it's like, okay, well, pick that design, pick the materials. Like, what is stopping you from actually building the boat? What is it? You can't source the materials? Well, I mean, you can ask a lot of companies that exist that have the materials you most likely need, right? Maybe you're designing your own material. It's like, okay, great. Then you maybe need to design the makeup of the material yourself first before you even start building, which that's what you got to do. You don't have to go to school for that. You just have to figure out what the next step is to get you the answer you need today to then help you tomorrow get closer to your goal, right? I'm learning things that I've never learned before in my entire career of being a software engineer, a software developer outside of work. I've never actually been a software engineer inside of work as much as I'd like to. But my problem has been mostly, I believe, it's a self-belief issue that I didn't think I was qualified. And, you know, I think mostly I was right about that in a way, right? Like I didn't have all those same qualifications, and maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on myself because I know a lot of, you know, junior devs that got jobs when I was, you know, going to Code Fellows boot camp in Seattle. A lot of those guys, you know, I would consider myself level with them, right? As far as like the skill goes, because I've worked with them on projects. I see how they work. They see how I work. We've worked well together. So I'm like, okay, well, I could probably be an engineer too, and then like learn as I go, right? Well, that is, it's yes, you absolutely, I could have done that. But at this point in time, this is a different point in time. We're in an intelligence boom like no other we've ever seen. Yes, we've had Stack Overflow posts to help us in the past, and we've had, of course, our professors to answer questions that we stand in a line for 20 people deep, and then we get to ask one question, then we have to get back in the end of the line to ask another question that follows up, that's contextually relevant to the question and answer that we got from the professor. Now we can have our professor in our file systems, right? Like that is insane. So I can type in any language. I just happen to know English. That's my primary language. Any language to get translation into any other language, including software development languages like Python or JavaScript or TypeScript or Java or C# or yada, 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 right? We have this opportunity that no one else has had in human history before. We have this opportunity to come to a now low cost and getting lower cost, an intelligent figure, this intelligent cognition that we can query, and we can get a response that answers that burning question that we have had in our stomachs and our hearts, and in seconds and sometimes minutes, and maybe sometimes hours if you have a very complex question right now, right? But that is, those timeouts are few and far between, right? Most of the average answer I get from when I prompt my intelligence system is 5 minutes, maybe, most of the time less, but around 5 to 15 for the longer answers to come through. So this all being said, what does it make you feel, right? Where do you think, it probably makes you feel fucking scared as hell to leave a job that you've had for 5 years, or even think about like, oh, how do I, get value from myself versus trying to get value from somebody else? And ultimately, it's, impossible to just get value from yourself, because we're all here together, and ultimately we're going to have to work together to create a better existence for all, because it's right. Like as I'm walking through life, I'm not just going to go as the crow flies. I have to go through the roads that were paved for me to get from point A to point B. I just know I got to get to point B, and there's some twists and turns along the way, and I've got to take this road unless I make my own road, which is a bit outside the scope at the moment, right? But that's kind of where we're all going. This reinvention of ourselves, thinking of ourselves as a business versus a person who needs to work at a business. Going into a job interview in a way that, like, truly, because people say this all the time, and it's rarely true. Am I a good fit for the company? I really want to make sure I'm a good fit for you just as much as you're a good fit for me. Like, it's just hootenanny, right? It's BS. Like, but the words still ring true. So it's good practice to at least say the words, I suppose, and think the thought, because it is actually true. Like we truly do need to figure that out. Am I a good fit for what I'm doing right now? If I'm not, then I need to go do something that I am fit for, right? So yeah, this is something it just circles through my brain constantly. Now that I'm working with intelligent systems and I'm able to ask a question and get an answer that pushes my personal project forward. Right now, I think I've got a query running in the background here. I actually just finished up. I'm working on a productivity application Coda, and it is coming along great. And over the past 3.5 months since I got let go from Prudential, I've been able to spin up a web application, maybe about less than 30,000 lines of code, probably like less than 10,000 lines of code, honestly. An Android application, native Android app, as well as a fully native desktop application, right? I am not a senior software developer, never had that title before, whatever that means. But I'm a problem solver, as we all are. We define our own problems. Even the problems and task list, right, that people give us when we go to work, we still choose to participate. We still choose to initiate that problem set that they provided us. We could push back and say, I don't think this is the most important thing for me to be doing today and for our company to be doing today, or for me to be doing for the company today, right? And you could push back. People rarely do, because they're afraid that they're going to get fired, or they're afraid they're going to, be scolded, or they're afraid that they're going to come off in a way that's, I've stepped on your toes. I'm so sorry, Your Highness. Like, give me a break, And I've done this multiple times, and I'm sitting here jobless, right? I'm definitely not jobless. I've given myself a job, right? But at that point, when I got let go, I was thinking, now I'm jobless, right? I need to find another role. And then I kind of quickly kicked myself in the ass to make my own role. So reimagining our life, reinventing the wheel, that concept. Don't reinvent the wheel, just, use it and then work with it. I mean, I understand what it means to stand on the shoulders of giants, and using those nuggets of wisdom from ancient history up till now to best define who we are in the moment. That being said, reinventing the wheel, there's nothing wrong with that, because when you reinvent the wheel for your particular application, right? If I'm going to reinvent the wheel, I'm going to think of the material, right? What's the best material that I could use for the wheel and the street that the wheel will be tracked to? Very important, right? Very important. And the direction that it's going, that road that's being maybe rebuilt, where's it going? And is it a frictionless environment, more or less? Is it a little bit at a downslope, so I can just jump on my longboard and carve down the whole hill the entire way down, right? Is it building itself as it's going? Is it changing directions based on the dynamic evolution of the project? These are all very, very important questions we should be asking ourselves. So I encourage you to ask yourself these tough fucking questions. I encourage you to push back on your manager's decisions to do X, Y, and Z in your day-to-day. I encourage these big companies to take these same concepts of honoring your employees in a different capacity. Let them prove you wrong. And then make sure you're able to admit defeat. And don't worry, your ego is going to be okay, right? Like, relax. Sure, you've been with the company for 30 years, and sure, you sucked a lot of dicks to get there. But at the end of the day, like, you don't got to keep doing that. And nobody should have to. And we should all be honored for our value that we bring. So if a company has many different levels of employees, each employee should have an opportunity to provide real tangible value for the company. And that means that the company itself has to have a good directional vision. Which all comes back to asking ourselves those tough questions about what are we really fit for? What are we really dreaming about on the day-to-day basis? And are we in lockstep with our dream? Right now, I am in total lockstep with my dream. I'm creating a video that has been put off for much too long, and I am feeling really good about it in the moment. Unscripted material, and I'm just shooting from the hip, and it feels fucking fantastic.